Hello and welcome to the 17th episode of the Adamola Bookman podcast, where we read footballers' autobiographies. I'm here with my co-host John Coughlin. Hello, John.
Hello, Al.
How you doing, buddy?
I'm doing very well.
This week we're going to do Boleyn Boy, Mark Noble's autobiography. Woo!
Boleyn?
Boleyn and Berlin.
And Berlin.
Berlin and Berlin. Berlin. But it's not. It was never called fucking. I can't even remember what it was called.
When did that become a thing? It was only towards the end of their time at Upton Park that it suddenly was the Boleyn ground. That was not a thing.
I think when I looked it up in my Rothmans back when I was a kid, it always said Boleyn ground, and it's like, oh, look at that. That's a weird little quirk. I think it always was a Boleyn ground, but it was always known as Upton Park. Fuck knows why. I don't know.
Well, I know why.
Oh,
yeah.
Anne Boleyn, it was actually where she was beheaded.
So, okay, here we go. Here's some fun West Ham facts. West Ham was in East Ham. That's confusing, isn't it?
Yeah, I knew that as well. That was also in Rothmans. Very confusing.
Yeah, so Ham, Hamme, is literally a dry area between rivers. In this case, the Lee, the Thames, and the Rodding. Did you know that? Bet you didn't. And that was, West Ham and East Ham that's where the name comes from. So they were originally Thames Ironworks FC. So I guess the Irons, right? And Hammeris. Quite a happy little coincidence there, isn't it? For the nickname.
Yeah, that did work out for them.
So they were a team for a shipbuilder and ironworkers based in Canning Town.
And now they're a team for cunts. Whoa, edit that. No, God bless West Ham. Great supporters. Love them. All of them.
Yeah. So
go on.
They rented an area known as Boleyn Ground on the eastern side of the Green Street in Upton Park. So that movie Green Street, I guess, is based on them, isn't it?
That Green Street, I live here in America, folks, and that got a lot of traction from American football fans. They're always like, when we get into soccer, it's like, there's three questions. Man United or Liverpool? No. Oh, did you see Green Street? Yes. Do you like Wrexham? No.
Honestly.
And Green Street is one of those, right, Green Street is one of those movies. Have you seen it?
No.
No, neither have I. But like, I'm ready to slag it off in a single heartbeat, though. Like, it's like a little hobbit from America comes over and becomes like head of the like.
It is your man. It's like Elijah Wood, isn't it? Yeah. Okay.
It is. Yeah. I mean, it's so ridiculous, isn't it? Like, I think he like drops out of Harvard and becomes like the head of the West Ham firm. I mean, it's so ludicrous. Like, I might become head of the mafia over here, Johnny. Like, I'm going to move into that business. Start strong arming a few people. Well, anyway, bloody hell. Okay, Berlin. It's actually linked to Anne Boleyn. There you go. I have learned something, Johnny. I've learned something.
Yeah, apparently they rented this ground and house, which is she's believed to have stayed there and potentially even owned it. So that's why it's called the Boleyn Ground.
She still haunts it to this day, like sexy Anne Boleyn, who is in my head, Scarlett Johansson. Lovely.
Sorry, just going back to the film. Have you ever seen a film called ID? Which is about football.
Yes, I have. Yes. Now that is a good movie. At least it was a good movie when I was 17.
Yeah, when I was young, that was absolutely spectacular. So about a cop who goes undercover I remember they're called Shadwell.
Shadwell Army.
They played at the kennel.
Yeah.
We
play at the kennel.
The kennel is our place. That kind of thing.
I've got a fucking dart sticking out my fucking noggin, ain't I?
Yeah.
Oh, mate.
Really
East End impressions are going to be coming thick and fast today.
I
love that movie when I was a kid, although I'm worried to watch it today.
Yeah,
I bet it doesn't hold up. I bet it doesn't. Because at the time I loved it, but I bet now I'd be like,
1995, made by BBC. Yeah. Okay, so Mark Noble.
Anyway, yeah.
what do you say? What do you say about Mark Noble?
Well, what is there to say about Mark Noble? He was just there for a long, long fucking time, wasn't
He's
he? There he
just
was.
there.
Oh, Mark Noble on the old team sheet again. Hey, Mark Noble. Doesn't really do much. Doesn't do much. Just plays for West Ham for 20 fucking years. That's what he does. Just
He's
plays
just
for West
there.
Ham. Famously didn't play for England. And nor should he have. Like, because he just sat there. Sat there.
Famously didn't play for Ireland either. His grandparents are from Cork. And
He wouldn't have felt comfortable taking a place of one of those fucking Irish lads, would he, son? No, no, he addresses that in the book. Like,
it does. It does.
I think he would have felt comfortable had he been asked. Was he asked? Do you know? Or was it something that he intimated?
I think he was asked as I read about it, and it was one of those things. Kevin Nolan features in the book. There was always noise around Kevin Nolan playing for Ireland as well, and I remember there being noise about Noble. So I think it was maybe Martin O'Neill, Roy Keane era. So well into his career, like when he was. So they went to the Euros in 2016. So like that's
Oh, mate, that must keep you awake at night. Thinking of that, like Glenn Whelan and Mark Noble striding the pitch
I
like
know.
Vieira and Petit. Like,
I know. Yeah.
what a
It keep,
combo.
yeah, yeah, could have been magic. So Declan Rice and Mark Noble, the two that got away.
Mark Noble, I mean, there's not a lot to think about him. If you're not a West Ham supporter, he's just one of those blokes, isn't he? He's there. He's there. What did
Yeah,
you think of Mark Noble, Johnny, before you read the book?
I'm not sure I had strong feelings.
No. I'd be surprised if you did, frankly.
Yeah, he was there. I never thought he was bad. Never thought he was particularly good. Like he's a
I think you were
solid.
right in your estimations.
He's a
Wasn't
solid,
bad.
solid player. Maybe he was worth a cap for England. One
Oh,
solitary
God.
cap. But he loves West Ham.
Does he, Johnny? Does he? Does he really?
I don't think he loves West Ham fans.
Well, that's what I was going to say to you. I think he has a healthy old contempt for West Ham fans. And I think it shines through again and again in the books. Like, I mean, there's some funny old wording there. Like, yeah, I mean, he claims to love West Ham fans, but it would appear to me he does not. No, I mean, that's why I asked you, Johnny. I mean, I think he likes the idea of West Ham. I think he likes the idea of being one of it. I just think he probably doesn't like all the dirty supporters being close to him.
Yeah.
I'm going too far with that. I'm going too far with that, but he's certainly.
Yeah, would he have loved West Ham if Chelsea came calling, I wonder, or if Spurs came calling?
Yes. Well, first of all, I mean, I've got quite a lot of evidence. Like, there's one moment where he's like, "Oh, I love United. They're my
Yeah,
second team."
my second
Who the
team.
fuck has a second team if you've got a Premier League team as your first team? That just doesn't happen. Like, so whoa, alarm bells were going off there, Johnny. Oh, I've always loved United. Have you?
That
Have you,
was
Mr. West
right,
Ham? Have you always loved United?
right at the end of the book as well. That was a bit of a funny one, was it? Like no one over the age of 12 is second team.
Well, I mean, you can have a second team. My second team would be Kettering fucking Town, like not Manchester United, direct rivals. Yeah. So yeah,
Not
to
not not,
me.
be- not beloved of West Ham's generally, Manchester United.
Oh, I was born within the fucking earshot of the old Bow Bells, eh? And all I could fucking hear was like Manchester, Manchester United. I heard it singing to me. What could I do? Yeah, so I did think that was interesting, Johnny.
Yeah,
Yes, he also picks up West Ham fans quite a lot, their behaviour. There was some interesting phrasing. Try and find the quote exactly. It's like, apparently, West Ham fans have got tired of me giving in excellent performances for West Ham and wanting me out. Like, I wasn't bitter. Yeah, you fucking were, son. And
and
I'll
he's
teach
no
them a fucking thing or two, the bunch of arseholes. He didn't
he,
write that, but you could see he meant it.
and he shares Sam Allardyce's view of the West Ham way as well, I think.
Yeah, bullshit. I just want to fucking win, don't I? I don't care how we play. Well, I mean, I do have some sympathies with that and the absolute mega delusion that West Ham fans live under, where they think there's some academy like Ajax. You're not. One Joe
What?
Cole and one Michael Carrick does not a fucking academy make. But nonetheless,
Oh, come on. Frank Lampard,
There's
Rio
some good players
Ferdinand.
back
The list
then.
goes on. Jermaine Defoe. There's loads of them.
Oh, Saint Frank, eh? Like he pops up like there was a moment where Mark was just like, I was just fucking happy to breathe the same air that he breathed. Like, oh, he's my fucking hero. Look at him. I mean, he's Gerrard and Lampard. They've got something in the fucking minds of these midfielders. Like, if you were
Yeah,
5 years younger than them, they are a godlike stat. They were good, right? I mean, of course they were, but
yeah. He got a text from
crikey,
Gerrard as well at one point,
oh, what a
and he
classy
talks
moment.
about
What a class fella.
what a class act. Yeah. Okay. So,
Stephen Gerrard, class act. We all know it.
so okay. Let's talk about Boleyn. Oh, actually, can I ask you one question,
hmm
or can I tell you a question? As my daughter has been saying to me recently.
That's how you traditionally do questions, isn't it? Let me tell you a question. And I'll
So when they
uh, yes.
left the Boleyn ground, they'd been there for 112 years.
Uh-huh.
Okay, so I put to you, my question is, what is the oldest stadium in the Premier League?
In the Premier League.
Yes.
Ooh. Well, let me feel whilst I rack my brains through so I don't make it stupid. Oh, I'm tempted, Johnny. I'm tempted to say the world famous City Ground, is it? Yes.
No, it's not. Whoa, hold on, no. No, it was the City Ground is their seventh home. They moved in there a whole 33 years after they were founded in 1865. They moved there in
Yeah, but it's only 33 years. I mean,
1898.
that's still 130 years.
No, it doesn't make great, man. Doesn't even get in the top five. Forget about it.
Oh, Goodison then. Goodison. That's my final answer.
No. Stamford Bridge.
Anfield is my final answer.
Stamford Bridge, 1877. St. James's Park, 1880. Anfield and Portman Road, 1884. And Molineux, 1889.
Stamford Bridge is the oldest.
There you go.
Yeah, people always say Chelsea ain't got no history. Well, there you go. Mud in their eye.
Yeah. And would you like some more questions on other?
Well, if they're as smooth as that one, yes, please.
Okay. So Noble talks quite a bit about his penalty taking.
Mm-hmm.
So in 2020, Noble was rated as the player with the second highest conversion rate for penalty kicks in the world over the previous 20 years. Are you willing to guess who would beat him?
Is it somebody famous?
Someone very famous, yes.
Oh, it's someone very famous. Ooh, Ronaldo.
No, Robert Lewandowski.
Ah,
Yeah.
Lewandowski.
And okay, would you like to know who's got the best record in the Premier League?
Ever in the Premier League at taking
Ever.
penalties?
Ever. And there's kind of two answers to this if you want.
Well, I presume it's Matt Letizia.
Yeah, he scored 47 out of 48 penalties. And who saved the only penalty that he missed?
Well, you can't see the lovely big smile on my face here, lovely listeners, but of course, it's a lovely Mark Crossley. Lovely Mark Crossley for lovely old Nottingham Forest. Take that, Letizia, dingbat.
Yeah, in 1993, so early enough in his Premier League penalty kicking career. I also would have accepted Yaya Toure, who's got a 100% record.
Out of how many?
For his 11 in the league and 3 in all cup competitions in England. There you go.
Mm.
Mark Noble, let's go. He is from near West Ham. You know, they should have got Ray Winston to read this book. I listened to the audiobook. It would have been better if they'd Ray Winston. They had a guy.
Okay, so I got a question. Who did read the audiobook?
Just some random actor lad, and he did a very annoying thing where he was just kind of essentially fake laughing at every second line in the book. And this is not a funny book.
It certainly is not, folks. The dialogue. I mean, I looked up who co-wrote this book, and I couldn't find anyone. But my guess would be one of the writers on EastEnders. I mean, I don't want to labour the East End connection, but fucking hell, the dialogue is like, is that how you remember these conversations in your head? It is like, honestly. And then he walks in, he's like, what's fucking going on here then? And then he pipes up like, I'll tell you what, son. It's very thick. It's very thick. It's very Cockney. It's very badly written.
Yeah, and he
very badly written.
the amount of time, every story that he relates where there's been an exchange, he has the other person calling him Nobes. Footballers and nicknames, they could improve, couldn't they?
Yes. And
Yeah.
I don't think there's a walk of life where butchers or lawyers all have great nicknames for each other, but they really are very lame, aren't they?
Well, Tonks was quite good, I suppose. James Tompkins. And just because of the Harry Potter character with the change in color hair, but I'm sure that's not why he was called Tonks.
Now, James Tompkins, he's a very good looking man, isn't he? Like a very good looking man.
He's
And
a handsome fella, yeah. He could have been on
he is.
EastEnders.
He's too good looking for EastEnders, mate. You seen him?
He could have
In a
been
way,
on.
old Nobes is a good looking man, isn't he? He's got that sort of Scotty Parker, Second World War fighter
Yeah.
pilot look about him. And he has a, I believe when you slick all your hair back, that's a pompadour, right?
Is that what
He
that's
has,
called?
he's rocked that pompadour his whole career. When sure, he's in these dressing rooms with these young lads, like, "Oh, granddad, I like your haircut." It's like really, my,
So another fellow who reminds me of a kind of a squaddy is the current England goalkeeper, Pickford. He's got a kind of
oh,
squatty vibes to him as well, and he also does the pompadour.
yeah, he does do a pompadour.
Yeah,
Like Pickford's in my good books at the moment, so I can only I can only think of warm things when I think of Jordan Pickford. He's never let us down, that lad. He's never let us down.
we kind of touched on this with the Savage book. I think it's a bit of a challenge for these books when there's not a whole lot to hang the book off in terms of the football. Because West Ham years, initially they were up and down out of the Premier League, back into the Premier League. But in terms of the football, that's about as interesting as it gets, isn't it? Because the rest of the years are just kind of
Well,
mid-table, right?
that's it, Johnny. And you've said before on this pod that you said the worst books is basically when they just describe, and then we won this game 2-0, but then when we're disappointed, that's all this book is.
Mm,
That's all it is. It's just being a one club man is great, right? Absolutely super. You play for it. It doesn't make for a great book. It
no,
doesn't because this. It just seems like he's done absolutely fuck all for the last 20 years. I mean, obviously he's played for a Premier League team, but
500
that's
times.
what he's done, huh? And absolutely nothing else. And this was a lad who was not going to play for another team either. Because there's some funny stuff in this, Johnny. I mean, like, and not intentionally. So at the start of his career, I mean, this is what I like. He had Alan Pards, as he's known as through the book. He's incredibly familiar with all his managers. We're all first
Carbs,
name
carbs
terms.
and pards.
Curbs and Pards, David, Moy. Anyway, but not getting derailed. Pards decides he's not quite ready for first team, sends him out on loan, and he goes up to
Hull.
Hull. And he really has a miserable time. Like he can't get
Mm,
back home. All his mates in London. And remember,
yes.
he's in Hull, like 3.5 hours away from London at this point. Like maybe 4 hours. So it's 4 hours, and he just can't hack it at all. I mean, and what's more, and I've got a quote here. If I'm giving up my family life and my mates to come and live up here on my own, that's not what I want, I thought. This is not what I thought being a professional footballer was going to be about. Well, what did you think it was going to be about, dickhead? Like, generally, it's quite famously, footballers have to travel to play for their teams. But he's the one footballer who didn't have to, apparently.
Yeah.
But yes, I mean, like he living in Hull was too far away. He had another loan at Ipswich, acceptable. Oh, Ipswich, lovely little club, nice and close to London. So he liked Ipswich because he was close to his house and his wife, and God bless him for that. But he couldn't play. But then he has the fucking audacity to offer advice to foreigners who come to play for West Ham. Oh, some of the foreigners didn't try and fucking settle in, did they? Like, oh, that's on them. You couldn't live in fucking Hull, honestly. I mean, just read it back. Just read it back. Read what you've written, and you can see where you look silly sometimes, old sausage.
Well, so he did play for, so the clubs he's played for are Arsenal, who he was
Oh
at
yeah, not
briefly.
one club man, is he? Fuck one club man. He
Yeah,
played 11 games for Ipswich. He's a fucking fraud.
in your face, Mark Noble, 9-year-old Mark Noble. And then he was trained by Liam Brady. And do you know what he said about Arsenal? This is 9-year-old Mark Noble. I had no complaints about the setup at Arsenal. Oh, that's nice. That's very kind of you. But he goes to West Ham and he whatever, he's He's good from a young age, and he's in the squad quite young. And by the way, that West Ham team in 2003 that went down, what the hell? Joe Cole, Paulo Di Canio, Glenn Johnson, Freddie Canute, David James, Trevor Sinclair, Jermaine Defoe. This is the best team ever to be relegated.
And Glenn Roeder. Yeah, well, Glenn Roeder, the weakest man in the world as manager. Like, I mean, he was. I mean, yeah, I mean, it's a long time ago now, but that was noticeably like, yeah, that was the best team that ever got relegated, right?
Unbelievable.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, how could they get relegated? And I bet, I mean, I haven't done my research here, but let's have a look at some of the teams who finished above them and look at some of those luminaries. In all fairness, a lot of those names were very, very young at that time, weren't they? I mean, like your Joe Coles and your Carricks and your Rios. Yeah, Rio. I don't think you even said Rio.
Was he in that team as well? Jeez, that's astonishing. That's like this is as good as the England team. Like,
And as he says, like the actual, West Ham actually falling to pieces and getting relegated was good for him
that was
because
the making of him, and he'd missed that. Yeah, yeah.
otherwise he would have ended up in some fucking like backwater like Birmingham City. He would have been lost. I don't know where I fucking am. Food's
he
different
would've-
up here. I don't understand. I need my pie fucking mash. Where's the jelly fucking eel when you need one?
Yeah, he got into the team, as you say, and he had to sing a song to Port Divil. He had to sing a song. Remember that, like, things had changed. No longer having sex with mops, at least 10, 15 years later. He had to sing a song, and he was so nervous he was going to run away from the hotel. And he sang
Well,
Bubbles.
that's the only.
He sang
Sorry, I'm
Bubbles.
just. Well, of course he fucking sang Bubbles. I mean, Jesus, the walking cliche. That's the only part of an initiation I would embrace.
He's
And
singing.
I would sing Lilac Wine by Jeff Buckley. Okay, he's going to sing a song like, I lost myself in a cool embrace. Listen to the vibrato, lads. Listen to it.
Yeah.
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 Yeah, so he did the I'm Flying with Bone Bubbles, like a total hack. Well done, him.
Yeah,
The
and yeah, like this book, it wasn't the worst book in the world, but it wasn't any good either. And what is the most hacky of the whole thing is just any description of the pranks, as he calls them. My goodness, my goodness, this is terrible.
No, there's a lot of turds, Johnny, in there. There's a lot of turds floating
Jeez.
about in this
Don't
book. There's
leave-
the turd
don't
in a
leave-
shoe,
Yeah, don't
turd
leave
in
a
a
sh-
suit.
don't leave a shoe around Robert Snodgrass, apparently.
Oh, Snodgrass. What do they do to Snodgrass's car? Like put like Vaseline on his windscreen or
Oh,
something?
and he was like, "Well, you want to? It takes ages to get that off."
You just get like the kit man to do it, though, right? I'm sure that's what they do. You just throw him like 300 quid, like wash that off for me, like, or start going to have a massage or something. It doesn't really matter, does it? Yeah, some of them, oh God, oh really, really, oh Snodgrass is a really long, it's like a 3-page description about how him and Robert Snodgrass weren't in the team, but Snodgrass wasn't paying attention. And then he tricked Robert Snodgrass in going to a team meeting. And then like Robert Snodgrass was like, I've never been so embarrassed. End of story. That was a great one, mate. Well, you talk about it not being a great book, and it certainly isn't. But I noticed I was reading it on my Kindle, and you've got that little bit in the corner which says like 15 minutes and chapter left. I read it for about 10 minutes, and like the book said like hour and 44 minutes left. So I was like, fine, whatever, no worries. I didn't hate it. Anyway, go on. What were you going to say?
I didn't hate it either, but it did get a little bit better maybe when as I got used to the patter or whatever.
I thought it did get better. I thought it did get better. At first, I thought it was so dull.
Yeah, really
and then
dull.
I just thought it was.
And he seems pretty dull, like as in, he seems like into kind of fairly juvenile, boorish behavior, and is like, and it's kind of reminded me of Milner in a way, in that like to make a long career in football or at a single club, I think you have to be just like, he loved every manager. He would just do whatever any of them said. It's like, well, I didn't mind playing terrible football. Oh, I preferred playing nice football. Every time there was a new manager, he would say, like, essentially he liked the manager. He's just he'd make a great soldier, to return to that analogy there earlier. Like, it's just kind of, so yeah, he's not a particularly he's not a particularly interesting person, and he hasn't had a particularly interesting career.
I think one of the other books is like How to Be a Footballer, and I think he is very much how to be a footballer. When he's in the team, he works as hard as he fucking can. When he's out of the team, he doesn't complain too much. Yeah, he seems to me to be fairly obsequious to all the managers. There's a bit here when he goes to Ipswich when he's a kid, and this is what Jim Magilton told him. You fucking little prick. You haven't tell me to fucking put you in centre midfield again. I'll put you in the stand. Who the fuck do you think you are, Rivellino? He absolutely loved it. I was fucking wrong to question the manager there, wasn't I? Of course I should have been asked to fucking put him in midfield. No, no. And, that's it. He's like, I total respect for Magilton there. Next time I saw him, I like shook his hand. Call me a prick again. Go on.
Yeah, he does. He loves every manager, and that I'm sure like that is great for the managers. But he fails a couple of tests, and I'm going to give these tests names. It's the Milner test. At times he doesn't name names, and that's the most crucial element of these books. To be fair, as the book went on, he did a bit more, but earlier in the book, he wasn't talking, like he wasn't giving names. And
you're right. At Hull City, he says there's a midfielder who just gave him a particularly hard time.
Yes, that was exactly.
But he didn't name him. And why wouldn't you, right?
Why wouldn't you?
At this point, he's some prick who played for Hull 15 years ago, and you're the Boleyn Boy, mate. You've got to be scared of that. You've got fucking West Ham behind you, son. But yeah, I thought it was interesting he wouldn't name that guy, because why not?
So that's the Milner test. And also, he fails at the Robbie Savage test, which I think all players will fail at now, in that he fails to tell us how much money he earned at every time. That's what Savage did in this book, and I appreciate it. The very clear accounting that Savage gave for how much he earned. And I'd say now players just wouldn't, because I'd say that on some level they must be embarrassed just by how much they earn.
Yes, he only talked about his wages at one point, where he says when he was under 18s, he was on $2.5 grand.
Yeah,
which he knows, which is not bad. It's like, yeah, it's not bad, mate. Not bad. Not bad for an 18-year-old. Very good. Don't want to talk about what I earned when I was 18, Johnny, but it wasn't $2.5 grand a week. It was not.
What is a baby?
2,500 a week.
No, 2,500. What's a baby Bentley? Is it like a tiny, tiny little baby car?
I don't think it's tiny, but I don't think it's as big as a big old Bentley. I don't know about cars, Johnny.
Where it started to improve was when he started talking about Tevez. And then I said, okay, that is interesting enough, in that essentially it's not the most remarkable thing about Tevez, but he got in trouble. Go on.
Well, first of all, yes, I think, there's three players he focuses on in his time at West Ham. One is Tevez. I think that's the thing. When you're at a team like West Ham, and by the way, he goes on a rampage going like, you think you're so fucking good, don't you? If you were fucking good, you wouldn't be at West Ham, would you? But he says that at one point. Like, it's like, okay.
Yeah, he does say that. He does say that. That was quite remarkable.
Oh, you think you're so fucking good? If you're that good, you wouldn't be a shithole like West Ham. You'd be playing at Man United, wouldn't you? Like I fucking dream of. No, I don't. What? I didn't say that. Anyway, so because you play at West Ham, there's a certain level of football you're going to be playing with, and it's not going to be the players who are playing at the big boys. So yeah, there's three players who really blow his mind. Tevez.
So I'll tell you the other two.
Yep.
Dimitri Payet and Declan Rice.
Ding ding. Correctamundo.
Yeah. Yeah, and they were like, well, Payet maybe didn't have a massive career, but he was exceptional for West Ham.
Yeah, for 18 months, that kid was amazing, wasn't he? Like, I mean, he was box office. Yeah, so Declan Rice got him a ticket for the Euro 2020 final.
James Corden's box. That made you sick to the stomach.
Yeah, sorry. I actually laughed out loud when I saw that. Like, judge a man by his friends. And it wasn't Declan Rice. So James Corden. Good God. Oh, yeah, I was in the Belks, James Corden, Russell Brown was there, Ray fucking Winston. Oh, we had a high old time.
Is Corden a West Ham fan?
Yes. It's all the cunts support West Ham. It's incredible. Like, it's just, all the dickheads support West Ham.
Tevez got in trouble for something that I can't even remember, but they tried to make him wear a Brazil shirt at training for 2 weeks. That was going to be his punishment. And he said, no. And they said, no, you have to. He said, if you make me wear that, I will never play for West Ham again. And that was the end of the story.
I mean, that's one of those parts because he said he got his interpreter to say it as well, like just to make sure. Like, yeah, it was one of them parts. It's like, oh, where's Adam? Where's Adam Pardew go? Oh, he's in his office. I just sort of slunk off. All right, fucking leave it, leave it.
At one point, he talks about Scholes and he talks about Fabregas playing against both of them and saying that they were really good. And there's a kind of he compares when he played against Scholes the first time, I couldn't lay a glove on him essentially, and then kind of later on being at least being able to keep up with him. But what I'd like to hear is why are these guys good, you know? And I think, as you were saying, if now we're playing against Spurs, okay, that was 2-1. Now we're playing against West Brom. This was 3-0. That's not interesting to anyone, really. But I would like to know about why particular guys are good and not.
No, that's it. There's no real depth of analysis, is there? Like, there's none of that. It really is. It's just a list of scores. Like, he'll be going like, oh, we won 2-0. I played well. I was happy. Oh, I played frustrated. I was angry. Like, oh, I got injured and that was frustrating. It's like, yep.
Yeah.
That's how I would imagine you'd feel in all of those scenarios. And indeed you did.
So you were saying like it's when you stay at one club, it doesn't make for a good book. So the kind of thing that signposts this book is the managers, isn't it? Because the seasons are all the same. The club is the same. So the kind of signposts along the way are the managers.
Noble's always the same. There's no growing there. It's no changing.
So he had Roeder, as you said, Pards, Curbs. He doesn't actually give a whole lot of detail about anyone. The only one he maybe gets into a little bit of detail. Oh, that's not true. He talks a bit about Sam, Big Sam. He talks a bit about Bilic, and he talks a bit about Moyes. He gives a little.
He does. I mean, in all fairness, and he's very complimentary about every single one of them. Even like Pellegrini, he wasn't there for very long.
Because he's a total brown nose. That's why.
Yeah, I think that's what we're talking about. Like, this book should be called "How to Be a Professional Footballer." I suck the manager's dick at every opportunity. Like, just say, "Oh, Mr. West Ham, me." Like, oh, you got.
He talks about Zola being still excellent at 44 and himself and Parker trying
we
to.
We tried to persuade him to come out of retirement, didn't we? We go, come on, Franco, you should be good enough. Like, you're better than me. Yes, more so. You're so good at football, sir. I love you, Sam. Big Sam. Your football philosophy is exactly right. Don't listen to a stupid fucking West Ham fans who I don't respect. Yeah, he really. He does. I mean, yeah, brown nose. It didn't occur to me before. I wrote down like overly familiar because everybody was first. But yeah, I think brown nose is also. Yeah, they were every single manager. I mean, that's it. If Sav's not happy, say talking about our last book, he fucks off. Like he's like you either wait out the manager or you leave.
Yeah.
But like this lad is just like, what can I do? What can I fucking do to get the manager's good books?
Yes.
Yeah, he's like, where's Mark Noble? He's outside washing your car.
Yeah. What he says about Zola actually is that Zola was too nice to be a manager, but he didn't lose his dignity, which is, I guess, what everybody's aiming for when they become a manager.
So you think it's so? Like, Kirbishley did lose his dignity.
Pardue and dignity. Yeah.
He's not interested in it.
Yeah, absolutely not.
Yeah, he doesn't even need his own manager's approval. There's like 2 pages of like Jose Mourinho just bowling over to him saying, "Well done, I liked that," or something. And that really made me believe. And when a man like Jose Mourinho comes up to you and tells you you're going to make it, then you can only believe him, can't you? You can only believe him.
His career is bookended by something nice that Mourinho says at the start and something nice that Pep says at the end. They're the 2 highlights of his career.
That's Guardiola. I was touched. A man like Guardiola took 20 seconds out of his life to it. Yeah, and that's it. These things also, because he plays the West Ham and you don't play many finals, some of these games take on huge importance, like the last game at the Boleyn Boy, Upton fucking Park, like it's actually called. The last game at Upton Park was against United, right? Yeah. And like, there's a whole fucking chapter about that. Like, the build up to the game. I was shitting myself. It's just the last game. You know what I mean? You're not going to win anything. You're not going to win or lose it. Well, you're going to win a game, you know. But you know what I'm saying, like. But yeah, he talks about the last game at Upton Park, like Patrice ever wrote. In fact, he makes much more of a last game at Upton Park would say Patrice ever did about a Champions League final or something.
Yeah, exactly. But on Pep, like Pep is hardly the most sincere individual, is he? You imagine him talking to Noble. You have been the best player, the best player in the Premier League. I would have liked to hear more about Avram Grant. There's something about Avram Grant I think is there's something very interesting about Avram Grant.
Didn't really look like a manager, did he?
No, he didn't.
Big fucking toad.
Uncle Fester.
Big sweaty toad. Sorry, Avram. So yeah, so a lot of it, like big games, really aren't very big games at all. Like at least in terms of how I see it. Like, I mean, obviously in the mind of a Mr. West Ham, this is huge.
But if that's it, like the constituency for this book is West Ham fans, who are the only people who actually get criticized in the book, are the only people who are likely to read it. Pep Guardiola is not reading this book.
No, he's not though. Man U fans, they're a knowledgeable bunch, mate. They know their football up there. Like some of these West Ham fans, not so much, eh? Not so much. Some quick things that he talks about. There's a little bit about mental health, which I thought was interesting. And there was one of his teammates complained about how they suffered from mental health problems. And the world's smallest violin came out for Craig Bellamy. Oh, Craig, were you suffering? Did you inflict suffering on others, though, to mitigate your suffering? I bet you did, didn't you? Like, what was that poor Norwegian cunt from last week? What's his name? Let's talk about his Norwegian health. No, his Norwegian health. His Norwegian health. That's a song by the Beatles, right? What was his name? I wrote down Norwegian lad here. I forgot his name.
Pedersen. I've said it
Morgan Gams Pedersen. That's the boy, like, yeah.
He would have been outraged reading this book, reading Bellamy's book.
Even Bellamy suffering with his mental health, like, he didn't get to play golf one day or something.
There was too many Norwegians in his life.
Crikey, when old Craig Bellamy can play. Yeah, I look at Craig Bellamy, who never held back with his opinions during his career, said after hanging up his boots that he'd had mental health problems while in the game. Yeah, and you inflicted some as well. Yeah, a lot of cliches in this. Just reading it there, hanging up his boots. Yeah, but God, the dialogue. Oh, it's really is. It's like it's EastEnders script stuff here.
Yeah. Can I ask you a question? Can you pronounce this word? This word, Prawing. How would you say that?
Drawing. And how would you pronounce it, Johnny? I'm very.
Say it again.
Drawing. Shut up! Don't make me feel funny.
Drawing. Yeah, that's a real. I don't know. Is it a London thing? I would say drawing, but there's an extra R. No, drawing.
I'm drawing. Let's do drawing. Yeah, drawing. Yeah, there's two R's. Yeah, correct. Drawing. Okay, fine.
It's a funny one. Anyway, okay, whatever. Yeah. By the way, and something that I thought was funny, he married his. I think he started going out with his wife when they were 14 or something. He's a one club man. He's a one lady man. Footballers and family responsibilities are fucking taking the piss, aren't they?
Carly has to fucking understand that I'm a professional footballer, so if she wants any fucking help with the kids, she ain't gonna fucking get it, is she? He was locked in his room with his earphone. Yes, I mean, yes, you're not. Is this wrong or is it right, Johnny? I have a degree of sympathy. I'm like, it's proper what you're doing.
Yeah, but like you say, I look back now and realize that Carly had a hard time with the children, up all night. But I really had to take care of my sleep. I could, okay, fine, whatever. Like that's the decision that they've made. But I could just see you later. See you later, Carly. I'm off to the other room.
I mean, this is where I'm gonna show myself up to be the dinosaur there. But he could let one Carly down, or he could let down 35,000 Hammers fans. I mean, what would you rather do, Johnny? I know I'd rather let down one wife or 35,000. Well, you could let down. Think of it like this, Johnny. You can let down Carly, or you can let down James Corden. You decide. You decide. Who do you want to let down? You
Well,
know what
when
Gordon's going to react if he gets let down. He's going to be absolutely monstrous. He's going to. Has James Corden done an autobiography? I'd do that.
I heard a story about James Corden, and can't even remember where I heard it, but it is funny, right? It was a lady was on a plane, and
I
she
know
was,
this story. No, this is a famous one, right? And
oh,
lady
okay,
with the baby gets on the
okay,
plane, but
okay.
actually James Corden's cool about it, and everyone's like, "Oh, he's surprisingly cool about this screaming baby next to
He
him."
just puts a towel over his head and goes to sleep or something.
And
And
everyone's
so
like, "Oh, actually, that's pretty decent about it."
it was his baby.
Yeah. Yeah, we get off at the other end, like she's just like, "Look, you didn't help me with the baby all the way through. At least you get the fucking bags out." That shit.
Well, Mark Noble and Al Bond would be totally fine with that.
No, James Corden, you don't get away with that for being a TV host. That is appalling behaviour. Just footballers, they get special things.
I think a book I'd like to read actually is Ravel Morrison should do a book just so we can hear his side of the story because he comes up and it's all the same stuff. He was amazing. He took a suitcase of pot noodles to Saudi Arabia with him, or sorry, to Dubai with him. That was enjoyable.
It's a divine life.
I just
I don't know
didn't
what food's going to be like here.
didn't think I'd like didn't think I'd like the food.
Ava Ravel Morrison, yeah, he says he's almost naive, and it's sort of a side of Ravel Morrison I'd never seen before. I just thought he was like a badass, but in fact, he seems like quite a nice lad who's just impressionable.
Yeah, exactly. Maybe a bit of a soft Egypt.
I tell you what, though, Johnny, I looked up that goal against Spurs that he scored. It's not that great.
Oh, did you ever see that thing that he did in training ground where he did the kind of
Yes, I did. The little like back heel, like
oh,
flying through the air.
yeah, that's
Move
amazing.
out from the game time. Come on, like.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, that is a book. Because he played in fucking Mexico, like, didn't he? Like, went to fucking Mexico. All right.
Yeah, he talking about cliches. Journalists shouldn't give ratings. I don't comment on the performance of a doctor. They're essentially not qualified to say anything. If doctors were on television all of the time, I can guarantee you people would be would be commenting on their performance.
Well, I mean, that's very much the case, isn't it, Johnny? I mean, basically, they're doing it for our entertainment. It's like it's like watching like fucking Jared Leto getting angry about like people slagging off his. Hey, I don't comment on your performance as the cashier. Don't comment on my performance as the Joker. It was good, okay? Yeah, you don't get that. Like, if you play shit, you're allowed people to say you're shit.
I tell
I'm
you what, as well,
sorry, if you're getting 30 grand a week, sorry, lad, there you go. You'll get over it.
I tell you another thing about that I've noticed is footballers. They're at pains to say that they're like everyone else. We've covered this before, but they don't like it when their privileges are removed, do they? Because there's a thing there when they move from the Boleyn ground to the whatever London Stadium, and he's driving in and he's stopped by the security guard. Like this angered him so much that he wrote it in his book like 6 or 7 years later. Like this is just a disgrace. I'm the West Ham captain and I was stopped by a security guard. And like, to be fair, I'd say Noble is probably quite decent, but he's at pains to say, oh, I gave the dinner lady a hug and blah, 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 all that kind of stuff. But anytime there's a little peep of them being treated without the privileges that he's come to expect, and then the mask slips a little bit, I think.
Yeah, you're absolutely right, and I've got a quote on this because yeah, that's it. Someone asked for his credentials to enter the stadium, right?
Yeah.
It's a little bit fucking hard for me to take. I've been at West Ham all my fucking life, and then some fucking clueless cunt who has no idea who I am, I'm fucking Mark Noble, Mr. West Ham, by the way, wants to see my fucking credentials to walk in the fucking stadium. It's too fucking much. I'll cut you. I'll make you smile forever. Yes, he sounded like a fucking asshole there. This is what I'm talking about. Like, just read it back and see how you sound. Maybe the security guard should just let everyone in. Maybe you'd like that. Everyone, welcome in. Like, come on in, everybody. You might be a player. I don't know. It's not like you're that fucking famous, Mark Noble. I mean, like, you could walk down the street in almost anywhere apart from Canning Town, and no one would have a fucking clue who you were. So why a security guard? Yes, Johnny, I agree with you, and I'm glad you highlighted it. That was poor from him.
Yeah, it was an absolute disgrace. He said another guy stopped Cresswell. Like, I wouldn't know Cresswell if he walked into my kitchen right now, like, you know. But
It's just like, yeah, Richard Cresswell. I mean, me too. And I think we both consider ourselves pretty decent football fans, right? I mean, if I saw Richard Cresswell on the street,
is it Aaron is
I
it
know you.
Aaron Cresswell? Aaron Cresswell?
Yeah, but what did I just call him? I don't even know his name. Richard Cresswell.
Richard
I think I went to
Cresswell.
school with a Richard Cresswell.
Richard Cresswell sounds more like a kind of a Shakespearean actor, a thespian. Maybe.
Well, it's funny you say that. Quick anecdote, Richard Cresswell, we were doing A Man for All Seasons at school. There was a friend of mine, it was the dress rehearsal, it wasn't actually on the stage, and like he had to deliver this line to Richard Cresswell. Richard Cresswell said, "Hark, I hear footsteps approach" or something. And this goes, "Sir, you are a liar and a thief and a twat." It was brilliant, it was just so funny. Anyway, yeah, Aaron Cresswell. Yeah, I wouldn't know Aaron Cresswell if I saw him. I don't even know his name.
Well, the security guard apparently stopped Aaron Cresswell under a 4 foot, 4 meter poster of Aaron Cresswell.
Again, he's just doing his job, son. He's just doing his job.
Yeah, he was just doing his job. Yeah.
Going back, I've just got a nice little quote here for him with his wife. This is about his upcoming nuptials. "Look, babe," I'd said, "I've got football to worry about and I need to get us promoted. So I'm happy to get married next year. Not a problem. But you're going to have to deal with it all."
Yeah, this is exactly what I'm talking
I'll
about.
just put that in my book. Will I write this? Yes, I'll write this. This makes me look like a fucking arsehole.
Don't footballers have like absolutely nothing to do when they're not playing football as well? Like,
sorry, oh no. This is this is from his wedding. This is from his wedding.
I think I know what you're going to say. Is this the speech?
Yeah, okay. This is Dad. "Carly's been with me every step of the way. Obviously, I couldn't stop crying during my speech. I was blown away by how beautiful our mums and sisters looked. I get emotional when I talk about the people I love, but I was at peace. I remember the room going silent when Dad stood up to make his speech and started it by saying, 'Mark signed a contract today.' Fucking liar, I thought. No, I haven't. But on he went. It's the best contract he's ever going to sign in his life, and that's marrying Carly." Fucking liar, Dad. What's he thinking? I was just sitting there. This is my dad's face. What did he just fucking liar.
That is
fucking liar. That was the happiest day of my life.
Sorry, by the way, you were saying earlier who wrote it. It was Jacob Steinberg is the ghostwriter on this.
Jacob Steinberg.
I believe so.
Wow.
Yeah.
You fucking pumped this out in 20 minutes. Like, I mean, I don't really know his writing, but I guess I've read his match reports. I know him more as a podcast sort of person. Well, he did a terrible job. Poor job, Jacob. This is dreadful. It's just dreadful. And the dialogue is absolutely abysmal. You must have been able to do better than this.
Yeah, it was an honor to help at Noble 16 Mark write his upcoming autobiography, Boleyn Boy, from Jacob Steinberg. Did you like when he rugby tackled the West Ham fan to the ground when the fella ran onto the pitch to have a go at the...
I've got it here. I've got it here, yes. Go, mate. So this is it. And this is what he says. Well, after he tackled the man to the ground, it was my way of saying, "Look, I'm a fucking West Ham fan. I've supported this team since I was born, but you don't run on the field of play." Yeah, that's my way. His way of saying that. Like, his way of saying that was by throwing the man to the ground.
Smashing him into the turf, yeah. Over the course of the book, right? Like I said, Moyes comes later. Like what was it that Moyes won at West Ham when he's
Europa League?
They did win it, so that's after Noble.
Yeah, that's after he fucking retired. Exactly, like it was a year after.
Because I was reading it. Sorry, I was listening to it, and he's going through the teams. I was like, okay, well, after a book that doesn't have much kind of jeopardy in terms of the games, this is at least a convenient, useful kind of denouement, if you want. But no, they lost in the semi-final to Frankfurt, but they won it the following year. Oh my goodness.
Yeah, yeah, that is his big climax of the book. And it's really sad because like just one more year, mate, and it could have been a great climax. Here's another one. So they played Man United, his favourite team, and he'd been getting stuck into it with Pogba. I can laugh about it now. We got pulled apart when I left our dressing room after the game. I saw my son, Lenny, standing there with his arm round Paul Pogba. Fucking hell, Len, I said. You're fucking loyal, ain't you? Why? Why was Lenny hanging around with Man U players?
Well, we know
Why?
why. Well, we know why.
Because I know why. Yes, exactly. He said, "Go on, just look up. I've always loved you, lads. I've always loved you, lads. Got to let my son like get close to you, get close to you." I really think he does support Man United. I really, really do think. Oh, this is where the quote is. It was water under the bridge. I had a chat with Paul and forgot about it. I understood his frustration. United are such a great club. I love what they stand for. They're my second team, and I had so many memorable moments against them. But it's been a struggle for them since my hero, Alex Ferguson, retired. He didn't write my hero, but he does love United. Yeah, you do. Admit it.
Yeah, he does love United. He absolutely adores United.
Oh, yeah, and here it is. Here it is. Here's the quote. The performance wasn't fucking acceptable. We were pointless after our first four games, just as we were when we got relegated in 2011, and I was already in a bad mood after being left on the bench. It was time to rattle a few cages when we trooped back into the dressing room after losing to Wolves. You not fucking think you're all superstars, I said. You're not. You're at West Ham for a reason. If you're superstars, you wouldn't fucking be here. The fans expect you to work hard, run and chase. It's not fucking Disneyland. You need to fucking buck your ideas up. That's why you're in a shithole club like shitty West Ham. Because you're fucking shit. You don't fucking buck your ideas up. Yeah, you're at West Ham for a reason. If you're superstars, you wouldn't be here. No, you wouldn't. No, you wouldn't.
It's good for morale.
Exactly. You're in a shithole club like me with shitty players like me.
You suck. You suck as a player. You're a bad club.
This was a good one. This was a good chapter. And there's a bit here where he has a fight with Marko Arnautovic. And this is the bit where I genuinely like him the most. Yeah, it was time for some honesty. I wanted to give the new boys a shock. And Marco soon settled down, though I was still angry when a few lads sat next to me. I looked at Cress, who had a knowing smile on his face. You shut yourself there, he said. As soon as Marco got up, you fucking started backpedaling sharpish. Suddenly, it was open season on me. The lads spent the next few days taking the piss out of me about running away from Marco. Seemed I'd done my bit for team spirit. Well, there you go. Yeah, I mean, that makes him look like a wet pussy. Get fucked up by Marco Arnautovic. I know. I mean, I thought that was nice. I thought that was the bit where I thought, oh, look, you've been good.
Yeah, well, there's a little bit, at least there's a kind of a sliver of humility there, because that's what it lacks, this book.
All right, so we get onto it. So he's gone through a bunch of managers. Basically, West Ham just stay where they are forever. Sometimes they go down, sometimes they go up. Basically, nothing ever happens. But then, COVID. COVID was a time of self-awareness for Mark Noble. And this is when he really excelled. Yeah, nobody was safe. No, not even professional athletes. I realised as much when I spoke to the doctor and found out that Cress and Snods were both ill in bed. I was scared. When I finally mustered the strength to get out of bed, I went downstairs to clean out my garage. But I hit a wall after spending 4 hours down there and had to go back to bed. Oh, mate, I fucking worked for only 4 hours and when I hit a wall, my back was killing me and I needed to stretch it out. Out of nowhere, though, I felt a burning sensation in my nose. Carly, is someone having a fire? I said, but I couldn't see any smoke when I looked outside. It was bizarre. But I didn't think of any more of it until Carly served me sausage, mash and onions for dinner. I couldn't taste the bleeding thing. I tipped Tabasco sauce all over my plate, but it made no difference. How he suffered. How he suffered. He couldn't even taste his sausage, mash and onions, mate. It was relentless. I barely slept at night and I wake up in the morning thinking, I'm going to be on Zoom for another 6 hours today. He was just on Zoom all of COVID, trying to make sure everyone got paid. He was such a hero. I'm not complaining. Plenty of people were in much worse situations than me, but I was so worried about taking care of everyone at West Ham. So yeah, so what he's basically saying that he was like on Zoom, like trying to make sure that all his players got paid, all the
Not just the
staff at
players.
West Ham got
Yeah,
paid.
tea lady. Let's not forget tea lady.
Well, he's fucking West Ham through and through, isn't he? Of course, he's got to look after the team. The most important part, the old jelly deals, like distributors were getting their money.
Yeah, well, he
Yeah,
said
so
he was.
he had a terrible time. Couldn't sleep because he was so worried about everyone at West Ham.
He says he's as proud of that as he is of anything he achieved in his football career.
Well, yep.
Day from the
I
tape.
mean, he maintained West Ham as a average to poor team for over 10 years. Like,
Take from that what you want. Yeah. Okay. Well, that's Mark Noble.
yep, that's Mark Noble.
I feel like I've been talking directly to the Mark.
Well, I feel that I've channeled him. Yeah, they missed a trick. I could have done his audiobook. We brought some authenticity, which apparently the bloke didn't. Like.
This has gotten 4.1 on Goodreads so far. What would you?
I
give
mean,
this?
we are the only two people who aren't West Ham supporters who've ever read it, though, Johnny. In fairness, aren't
Well,
we? It's
I don't know.
you and me.
What about Mark Noble and his son Lenny? They're Manchester United fans.
Hey, exactly. Mark Noble ain't read this book, mate. I ain't got time, mate. Too
So
busy
what-
on Zoom.
How are we rating this?
This book is like Mark Noble. It is a 2.5-star book. It is an average and competent book, which will while away 3.5 hours.
So, but what is the measure of this book? A shit in an Ugg boot.
It's a shit in a. It's 2.5 shits in an Ugg boot, mate. It's what that book is. 2.5 shits in an Ugg boot.
Yeah, I think I exactly. 2.5, 2.
I mean, it's perfectly all right. It's just that Mark Noble never did anything ever.
Yeah,
Did he? He didn't. I mean, like, genuinely, his biggest achievement was like getting the staff paid during COVID. And sorry, mate, I'm not interested.
Yeah. Well,
I don't care.
This book would be better if he was a more interesting person and if he had a better career. This book would have been a whole lot better. But there you go. That's it. I think 2.5 shits in an Ugg boot is an adequate performance. And, you know, that's kind of, he was a 2.5 shits in an Ugg boot kind of player, wasn't he?
Yeah, he was. If you're a West Ham fan, read it. Feel the contempt. Like. He doesn't think much of you, lad. He doesn't think much of you, West Ham fans. So for our 18th episode, please join us, and we're going to be reading the book My Turn by Johan Cruyff. Oh, My Turn. I just got that.
Thank you very much for listening. Follow us on the socials, and we'll talk to you next time. Thank you, Alistair.
Thank you, Johnny.